the reason I wrote Orange Blossom Days, because it wasn't the book I was actually going to write at all, was because I was lying on a lounger in my garden on a rare sunny day in 2015, and the sun was beating down on me, and I could smell honeysuckle and roses and lavenders, and it just reminded me of being on my balcony in Spain, because I had an apartment in Spain. And I was thinking about a character, or a Facebook person had written to me about, she was deeply unhappy with Cecily, who got apartment 3B, and why didn't I give it to one of the nicer characters? And I was kind of delighted and laughing to myself that somebody would take it so seriously. And I was thinking about apartments, and you know, apartment complexes are great for novels because there's all kinds of aggravation and annoyance and rows at the AGMs, as well as camaraderie and friendship. And I thought to myself, oh, I've been there, I've done that, I wrote apartment 3B, can't really use an apartment again. And then I was just listening to the birds singing, and the smells were wafting by, and I thought, oh, I could write one and set it in Spain, and not about sort of a residential apartment, but about a holiday complex. I got very excited, and then characters started flying into my head. You know, it was kind of, I was just lying there, and the next minute I know, I like kind of writing about topical things, and what I was listening to and finding out a lot was that grandparents are getting a bit of a hard time when they should be enjoying their retirement. They're all minding grandchildren, and so I thought I could write about a couple who've spent their lump sum on retirement and buying an apartment in Spain, and they think they're going to be playing golf and having long lazy days out there, and then their daughters get married and children need minding, and there's all this resentment that they can't really voice, because you know, you have to be loyal to your children, but it's and you know, children are so full of energy, especially toddlers and babies, and they're not able for them. I thought that'd be a meaty little subject to cover. So that was Austen and Anna. And then I thought about, I wanted to spread my wings, and because it was going to be abroad, I could do different nationalities and really very different characters to what I might normally write. And knowing what it's like, you know, on holidays in an apartment, and you have a management committee, and it's all very voluntary. But when there's a big mix of nationalities, there can be clashes. And so I had this idea for Eduardo, who's kind of a prissy little notary from Madrid, and doesn't like the way, I decided I'd call it La Joya de Andalucía, the Jewel of Andalucía. That name came very quickly. And Eduardo doesn't like the way it's been run, and he's having a lot of run-ins with the concierge, and he wants to be El Presidente, and he wants to be in charge of his own little fiefdom in Spain. And so I wanted to write about, you know, the way he rubbed up people, got up their noses, and really gave them a hard time, and they gave him a hard time. And just, but behind it all, behind his prettiness and his straight-lacedness, there's a very sad man. And I write about his backstory, and you know, why he has turned out the way he is, and why he needs to feel that he's in control. He has childhood issues, shall we say. So that was very enjoyable and very different from Anna and Austen. And then I wanted kind of somebody with a bit of feistiness and spice, and I decided I'd write about a great friend of mine, lives in Virginia, or came from Virginia in America, the southern states, and her mother's a real southern belle. And just even the way she talks is so entertaining. So I decided I'd write about Sally Ann and her husband, Cal, who are separated, but trying to keep civil for the sake of their teenagers. Because, you know, as we've seen with Brangelina and things like that, you know, a marriage breakup is a terrible thing. And children can be torn right, left and centre. So these couple are making an effort, but things go belly up. It's not all as it seems, and I don't want to give away the plot, but Cal's girlfriend gets pregnant, and that was not in the arrangement with Sally Ann. No babies, not allowed at all. So there's uproar, and of course, how do the girls, their twin daughters, deal with finding out there's going to be another Cooper coming along? So that was another meaty little topic for me to do. And then I wrote about a German woman called Jutta, who owned an apartment fit out and management company, and she was very professional, very strong-minded, very didn't like the way the Spanish did business with the under the counter envelopes and all that kind of thing. She was paid her taxes and took great pride in her job, and wanted one day to own a penthouse in La Jolla and be like her clients. And his working for her business is successful, but her husband is a bit of a fly-by-night. He's a property developer, and of course things go a bit awry on the Costa when the crash happened, and things take an awful turn, and life is not as she had planned it at all. So she was the little bit of mystery and the cool ice woman that really ended up in a complete heap. And so I entertained myself for an hour and a half out in my lounger, thinking about all these characters and this place in Spain, and felt I was there. And even though I hadn't planned to write the book or start writing it, I just had to get going on it. It just needed to be written. And I really enjoyed writing it, actually.